Good morning and welcome everybody. Shane Fry from GMT Futures. Thank you for joining us today. In today's presentation we're going to be going through improving your trading edge, and we've got a guest speaker today which is Stan Bokov from Multicharts, and he's going to be taking you through today's topic. So we're looking forward to hearing more about Multicharts and the power of the Multicharts application in improving our trading edge. So thank you again, Stan, and I'll hand it straight over to Stan. He's going to take you through the presentation.
Yes, Stan, as I said, I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Multicharts, and what we do is we make trading software. And today basically is an introduction day to what our software is, what it's capable of, just to give you a bit of an overview. And I'll also show you a couple of resources where you can learn more. We've been at it, building the software for about 6 years, and we've been basically, this is our main flagship product. We've been perfecting it over time. It was mainly for automated trading, so there's a lot of things that you'll see here, which is strategy optimization, strategy backtesting, automated trading, and about a year ago we added manual trading. So that's the panel on the right hand side here that you see. That's the manual trading stuff. So I'll do a general overview, and then at the end, if you have any questions that you'd like to be more specific on, just ask Shane, and he'll ask them to me, and I'll go over those features. So if I remember correctly, Shane, your users were mainly interested in optimization and backtesting and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, obviously, if we can cover some of the key features of the of Multicharts 8, some of the improvements from Multicharts 7, because some of the guys are actually using version 7. So if you could cover some of the upgrades and then go into the optimization and strategy or the portfolio analysis, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, so that's the focus that we'll take. Okay, that's great. I'm going to pull up my web browser here and show you guys where to see what's different in version 8. So we got this guy in glasses here. So if you go to our blog, so our main site, multicharts.com, and at the very front you see a few key features that Multicharts 8 has over Multicharts 7, which is the complete 64-bit version. It's a huge improvement, especially if we're talking about heavy backtesting and optimization. Given the power of modern machines, 2 gigs or 3 gigs of RAM is just simply not enough for me to just run all the regular apps on my computer anymore. But when we're talking about gigabytes and like 10 or 15 years of tick data that you want for accurate tests, 64-bit is just a must. 32 can crunch small amounts, but not nearly enough. So, traders got like 12 monitors going, 36 gigs of RAM, 32 cores, so very powerful computer. 32-bit is just wasn't cutting it. Global Hot Keys is another one if you are into quick manual trades or just want to save time moving around. You can define keyboard shortcuts for anything. Added the CQG data feed and a broker, and just improved all sorts of stuff. But if you go to the blog, in the blog we publish different stuff, but mainly what's new. I'm just going to scroll down here. So Multicharts.8 release, what's new, and this is what's different from the last major release, in our case 7.4. So below is another one for 7.4 from 7.0, and you can read all the more detailed stuff in terms of what we added here. Okay. All right. So Multicharts, in and of itself, was conceived as an alternative to TradeStation, which was and still is a big player in the industry, and mainly because of its easy language programming. Easy language is a programming language that was built for traders that don't want to spend a year or more learning, like C# or Java or something like that. That in the easy language, I'm just going to pull it up here. as you know, every trading platform has its own language to program indicators or strategies. And while EasyLanguage may not be the most flexible out there, it can certainly do pretty much anything you want, because you still have the capability of calling external DLL files that are written in C#. So you can write that and use it from here. So as one of our users aptly put it, EasyLanguage is trader talk. So you can make your computer or your strategy or your indicator do pretty much as if you're talking to it. You can make it do what you need without that extensive learning curve. Just by looking at a few examples, you can sort of tell what's happening. If you were to try to write this in C# and you never picked it up before, it'll be difficult. Okay. So that was the main point with which we started. We took the best of TradeStation, which is EasyLanguage compatibility, and we maintained it, even though it's difficult, throughout all these years, and ensured people, have access to this, because on the web there are hundreds of studies and ideas already programmed, so you can simply find them, download them, and copy paste or import them. This makes it easier to get started with the whole automation and back testing. Okay. The second point on multicharts, why it's called multicharts, is charting is important. I'll go over that in a bit. But the word multi, that means when TradeStation became closed, when they became their own data feed and broker, we remained open. So as you can see, these are brokers, 3 out of the 15 or something that are supported. So I added the ones that I actually use, and you can see that I can trade at the same time through a couple. So they're simultaneously connected. I can also do that data feeds. On the same chart, I can have data from a couple of different data vendors. So I have the flexibility to mix and match, to find the one that gives me the best deal or the best data or whatever, and work with that. So that's so openness plus EasyLanguage are kind of the distinct marking points for multicharts. So, sorry, just 1 second. So when you first, let's go over first launching Multichart. So you download this thing and you open it. There's a few key applications that you're going to use pretty much every time. They are found here. One is called the Quote Manager, one is called the Power Language Editor. Power Language Editor, which you saw, that's where you edit, create new, or import your indicators and strategies. The Quote Manager is the organizational tool for your data in all of your symbols. So, as you can see, I have multiple data feeds, symbols from multiple data feeds here. For my demonstration, I'm using CQG, simply because it's, I already got it set up and it's nice and easy. But I could be using, IQ feed, or I could be using eSignal. And the cool part about this, again, you have complete flexibility in terms of data. If you're interested in backtesting, you may, for example, go out and buy a whole bunch of tick data from somewhere. And then, but if you don't have such a database, it's not really useful to you. What you can do is right-click on any symbol. Let's say I have the continuous E-mini contract, and I can simply import my huge data file into my ES symbol. So an ASCII file is obviously like either comma separated or something like that, and it will automatically find the format of the data that I got in there. It'll import it, and I can manage it from there. I can edit it, I can delete it, I can, I can look at it. So for example, if I look at, so I can look at minute, trade values, start, end, load. So this is the data that I have in my database now. If I find a bad tick or something's incorrect, I can delete this value. So very flexible. And then of course you have the charts. Charting is it's in the name of the product. We think it's the most important part of the trading platform, because without a chart, this is the only and the main way you interact with the market. There is no way you can see what the market's doing. There's no way you can react to it unless you have an accurate chart. And your script can't accurately react to the market if the data, which is displayed on the chart, is not actually rendered properly. So charting is very, very flexible. And you can see that by the fact that all menus are context sensitive. So whatever you right click on, it gives you a different kind of a menu. So if I right click on the data series, it gives me that. Right click on the background, gives me that. Right click on an indicator, gives me that. So when I'm creating a chart, this is the window. Oops, no, that's the visual. When I'm creating a chart, it starts with choosing a symbol and the data source. In my case, it's CQG, but as you can see, there's quite an extensive list here, and we're adding, probably a couple per year, depending. You have to add the symbols that you use. So, of course, it's impossible for us to predict which symbol from which data feed you're going to use. Maybe you're a futures trader, or a stock trader, or a forex trader. So you actually have to search up and add the symbols that you need, because otherwise you'd have thousands of useless ones sitting around. So you add them once, and then they're in your database, such as my ES. CQG calls it EP for some reason. And you can even do cool things like merging data sources into a single chart. This is relevant for somebody with a fixed connection, like Trading Technologies, that does not give historical backfill. So maybe you're trading through Trading Technologies, but they only have real-time data. But you need that real-time data so you can see the relevant ask and bid, so you can trade on it. You may want to merge and have another data feed to backfill for the history, as an option. This is the most visited part of the menu here, because this is where you choose chart type. So be it a regular visual C, so open, high, low, close, or a different calculation method, like point and figure, Kagi, Renko, line break, Heikinashi. You can learn more about these on our site, or what they do, or just other resources. And the resolution as to what each bar represents, very flexible. This is point, also known as a range bar. And second minute, you can set to whatever you like, 13 or 120, anything you want. You can display trade ask and bid, and this is important because you can have most of the time people look at the trades, the trade values, but for accurate backtesting, you can find ask and bid and do something called precise backtesting, where your fills are actually performed at the ask and bid, not at the trade value. So it worsens your backtesting results, but it makes them more accurate as to where you would actually have them filled. Okay. Sessions, the way you build volume, and how far back you go. You can also change the time zone. This subchart business is, as you can see, my chart has 3 sections. I have 3 subcharts. I can add up to 50 if I want to. Each subchart has its own scale, so that they don't get mixed up. So my volume, my stochastic, and just my chart. And so then we go into the style. The style is, since I've chosen the regular chart, I can choose what my regular chart actually looks like. So is it going to be an OHLC? How fat is it going to be? Is it going to be HLC, candlestick, hollow? You know, this is up to you to choose. Okay. There's also scaling and volume to play around with, but yeah, the charting, very important, and it's that's enough about that. The easy way to, so let's, what are we looking at here? We're looking at a 60-minute chart. So let's switch it to like a 15-minute. And let's get rid of some of these indicators. So now we're getting into strategy work. Strategy work, oh, let's get rid of this too so we can see more of the chart. All right. Minimize that as well. So strategy work, of course, always begins with, well, what most people do is that they just insert a strategy to see how it goes, right? So we call them studies. Any indicators and signals are both studies. Indicators can only draw, obviously, and signals are able to send orders to the selected broker. They cannot draw. So indicators are visual, signals are building blocks of strategies. One or more signal is a strategy. The pre-made ones are marked with a certain suffix, as you can see here, LX, SX, LE, SE. These are pre-built building blocks that you can either use or look at and modify or save as your own or add to them. LX stands for long exit, SX for short exit. This is long entry, short entry. So I may, for example, want to add a long entry and a short entry. So I'm always reversing the position. I may want a Bollinger Band long entry, break even, stop. So choose a couple, click OK. And we're obviously not going to do very well here. Because that's going. Oh, we just did a break even, so let's let's remove this, and we're going to add a Bollinger Band reversal, just so we can see some trades going on. Okay. Entries are marked with blue arrows, Schultz with red, but you can obviously change all this stuff. We're trading just one contract, and trades are preliminary based on, you know, the connecting lines. You can see if it's a winning or losing one. So that's what people do. And then, so how do you know how you're doing? We have a very comprehensive strategy performance report. It's based on a chart per chart basis. You can have multiple charts with different strategies. You'll have a report for each chart. Let me just make this larger here. Okay, so our net profit throughout the testing period is quite bad. If you don't know what a particular one exactly means, you can always click it and you get a short little description at the bottom. And there's all sorts of values here to help you evaluate what you're doing. The trading period is 29 days, percent market, equity drawdown, so not good. All sorts of tools for analysis. Okay. Then you get into fine-tuning your strategy. You double-click, and in here you format the different objects. Instruments are the data series, studies, in this case, we get a volume indicator, drawings, and signals. On the right-hand side, you see a set of buttons. So format takes you to the inputs, the defined inputs of a script that you can change. So Bollinger Price, the length, for example, you may want to play around with the length or maybe whatnot. When a script is protected, if somebody gives you a read-only script, that means you cannot actually open it. You can't see what's written in it, so you can't change it. But you are able to change the inputs that are defined. So that's what this is for. And you can change the visual appearance of all your stuff. This one's important. Intrabar order generation. So for example, you like looking at a 15-minute chart, but your strategy may, for example, be you place multiple orders within that 15 minutes. So that's intrabar order generation. Orders can be placed as often as once every few ticks, or once every 5 minutes, but you may not necessarily want to wait till the board's closed. And so here you can set whether you're limit to 1 entry exit per bar, unlimited. So see what a difference it makes, right? I'm just going to show you change the intrabar here. I'm going to change the intrabar here, and we have a few more trades. All right, so that's the format. Then remove, turn it off and on, that's obvious. Add more, move up, move down. That defines in which order they're calculated. You can open the script. That's the Bollinger Band here. Long entry, and you can click on the short entry, open script. Obviously it'll open the short entry, and you can change it as needed. Then we get into the properties. Now the properties is a very interesting and complex menu. There's a lot of options here. They're all covered in great detail in our online Wikipedia, online wiki, which is on our site. We've taken the entire help file and moved it online for easy searching, for easy updates. So you can definitely either ask our support or go to the wiki and read up on it. So in the properties, you can set basically how your strategy is going to behave. And this applies to portfolio backtesting as well. It's a very similar menu, except on a chart, you're backtesting and trading only one symbol. In portfolio backtesting, you can backtest an unlimited number of symbols. Well, realistically, about 1,000, maybe less, because then your computer just gets overloaded. Well, again, depending on the length, the resolution, the time frame, number of functions, number of symbols, everything. So you can define, this makes your figures more accurate, the capital. This is scaling in and scaling out. So if you do want to generate, gradually increase your position size as opposed to coming in with a lump sum, with a lump amount, that's where you would set the upper limit for it. And there too, and how much are we trading, unless specifically defined in the script. So for example, you can have multiple entries in your script, entry 1, entry 2, entry 3, each, this one for 2, this one for 3, the next one for 5. Unless that's defined in your script, this value will be used. So let's say 6 or dollars per trade. Okay. This auto trading it defines how your auto trading works. One of the most interesting ones. Well, these guys are pretty self-explanatory. Alerts or not alerts. You can convert unexecuted price orders to markets, if you so choose. This is kind of the main one that it's just 2 radio buttons, but it's a big difference in the way your strategy works. just to clarify, synchronous, what it does is it removes all backtesting hypothetical trades from your chart, and it starts from blank slate each time you turn it on. So that way you're always in sync or synchronized with your actual position at the broker. Always, always, always async. This allows you to take into account the hypothetical back trades without removing them from the chart, but then you may be async from the broker unless you take special precautionary measures like look for the strategy position, so on. And you choose the broker. How am I doing so far? Too fast, too slow, too simple, or too complicated?
No, that's good. Good, Stan. You're doing well. Obviously, you're moving through to. You'll be getting to the optimization stuff. So no, keep going. You're doing well.
Yeah, optimization is only really makes sense after you go through backtesting and understand it, because because jumping to it without understanding this stuff that just doesn't really work. Because optimization is really just fine-tuning, choosing the optimal inputs that we saw in the format window, but I'll get to them. So Multicharts is very, very, put a lot of pride, and we put a lot of work into backtesting. It's our habit, and even though it can never be perfect, because it's still an approximation, we try to eliminate as many assumptions as possible so that you can be confident when using your strategy. So you test first, then you run it on a sim account. If you are satisfied everything works, only then do you go to a live account. Okay, so classic strategy backtesting is what I was talking about simply on the trade close data. That's what classic is. Extended is what I was mentioning on the bid and ask data to get accurate fill prices. You can add to this chart, I can add ask and bid for EPU 12 for this contract. They'll be downloaded from the broker or the data feed if they provide it. And then I'll choose the appropriate data series here, and my backtesting will take it into account. Backtesting precision. This stuff, it does add to your data load a little bit, but it's basically equivalent of building 3 charts. It's not a significant version of Multicharts can handle that just fine. Now this, however, can get very interesting. This is where all that 10 and 15 years of tick data can come in. Just imagine how much data that is to crunch. Your strategy, if you have a 15-minute chart like I do and you backtest it, it only knows 4 things. It knows open, high, low, close. It does not know how the price moved within each bar, and it does not know, let me just demonstrate. So we are talking in the properties and we are in backtesting. So bar magnifier. When we got a 15-minute resolution, we downloaded for each bar only 4 values, open, high, low, close. So we got the open, we got the high, we got the low, we got the close. When the bar, so Multicharts has an assumption, as does any other charting program, of what happened here. We assume, since the close is lower, price moved this way, open, high, low, close, because this assumption is as good as any. If the bar is the green one, we think it went open, low, high, close. The program, if you're not using this bar magnifier and you're looking at 15 minutes, it assumes that absolutely every price in this range is true. So every price is fillable, which is also not accurate because price might have jumped here and then jumped here. You have no idea what the volume was, and you have no idea how it was spaced. The actual bar is probably not solid. It's got a bunch of little holes here that you could not have possibly been filled on because there was simply no volume at that price. But backtesting doesn't know that, so it's not accurate. So you're like, oh yeah, I'm performing great, and you go into a sim account, and all of a sudden your strategy's tanking. You're like, well, what's going on? You know, it must be the software, or it must be my strategy, and you go digging around. But it's just you have to use software that has this mode available, and this really depends on A, the amount of data that you have, and B, just really how accurate you want to be, and on your type of strategy. If you got a swing strategy, going down to a tick, maybe not necessary. If you're doing like heavy intraday, not scalping, but if you really depend on those quick price movements, then you want to go down as accurate as possible. So what this does, while you are looking at a 50-minute chart, it downloads this data behind the scenes and crunches your backtesting strategy, as if it was a one-tick chart. And if you're using intra-border generation, using those one ticks, you may be getting a lot more orders if your conditions are met per bar than you would otherwise. You're also getting a lot more accurate. The bar magnifier, before we made the 64-bit in Multicharts 8, was people were complaining that they're running out of memory, computers were overloading, but in reality, RAM is cheap nowadays. You can easily put 64 gigs. 64 gigs will pretty much take care of whatever data amounts you are able to conjure up, because huge amounts of data cost lots of money. Whatever most data feeds give you, will not be a problem. Whew. All right, and lastly, this is easy alerts. When something does happen, you want to know about it. If you're cooking or away from a computer because you don't want to stare at charts all day, you can have an audio alert, you can have a visual, like a blinking thing, you can have an email alert. Send it to multiple recipients. You can even send it to your phone, so you know what your strategy is doing, so you're on top of things. All right, so that's backtesting. So we got intra-bar generation, important for trading, and we've got bar magnifier for backtesting. We turned on the bar magnifier, and the strategy is waiting for data for the bar magnifier to backtest it on a tick-by-tick basis. That may take a while. So let's go back to format signals, and the question was regarding optimization. Okay, there are two kinds, exhaustive and genetic. I'm not going to go into great detail because exhaustive is simple. It tries absolutely every possible value within the range that you define, and you are optimizing our inputs. Sorry, I have to turn on the bar magnifier. Oops, optimize. So exhaustive, it tries. So depends what I say. Optimize the possible length of 20 to 30. I don't know what the best value is between here. Just find me the best one. And by best, I tell it what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the best net profit or lowest total trades, drawdown. I can look for different things. Find me the best one here in this range. I'll go through it in a second. I'm not actually going to do it. So exhaustive, in that range, you may have 10,000 possible combinations. Exhaustive will go through the 10,000 without skipping a beat, and it'll show you the absolute best one. Two things to remember. Three, guaranteed to show you the absolute best. Guaranteed. The downside to that is twofold. A, it takes forever. Like if you're defining like big ranges and you got millions of combinations, it can take a night or a day, because it's trying absolutely everything, even the ones that can be potentially just no good. It still tries them. Second is the absolute best might be an outlier, so it's important to remember that. It could be a false peak, so it won't render you good results like overall. It's good for you know, nailing down small ranges to see what's exactly good here and there. And it may not look as dramatic when I got 2 or 4 inputs like I have here, but what if I got 30 inputs and I want to optimize different ones to find out what exactly is the best combination to use. Genetic is good for exactly that. It uses the algorithm of evolution, you know, the human population or just any evolution. And what it does, it has generations of numbers that it randomly picks. So let's say you have a huge range of 1 million. It picks, let's say, 100 here, 100 there, 100 there, and it tries them. If, you know, keeps the best ones out of each batch and discards the bad ones. Then it adds new ones. Then it keeps the best ones, discards the bad ones, adds the new ones. And so it goes, it doesn't try every value. It finds probably 95% best optimal value, not 100%, but 95. It is many times faster than exhaustive, so it's really good for those broad searches when you're looking for ideas as opposed to trying to nail something specific down. And you know, entire books have been written on it, so if you want to learn more about it, go to our wiki, or you can, you know, even the regular Wikipedia has stuff. Thing to remember about both optimization options, that Multicharts, because it was an algo trading platform, strictly, we incorporated multi-threading a long time ago. Multi-threading means you're using every available CPU in your computer. So if you got a quad core, you can potentially have 8 cores, 8 CPUs. And all 8 are going to be totally maxed out, and you're going to be essentially running optimizations 8 times faster than as if you had 1 core, which saves on time significantly. TradeStation still does not know how to do that, and not many other programs know how to do that well. Forward is an addition to either exhaustive or genetic. It's just, this is backtesting mixed into optimization. So when it optimizes, what it actually does is it pauses and it applies the set of inputs that it thinks are good. It optimizes a chunk here, then it goes boom. Does it really work? And then it takes this chunk, says boom, does it really work here? And then here, and then here. So all this stuff is documented in great detail here in a readable format on our site Multicharts in the features. If you look at strategy optimization, if you look at walk forward testing, you can see how it all how it all works. And you can always click the Learn More section to see some of the more hidden technical stuff below each point. So walk forward, you can play a nice little GIF, and it explains better than I can say what it actually does. See, it does an optimization, that it tries it on a piece of data to see how it really works. Does optimization, backtests. So this is unanchored. So anchored, so this is unanchored, what you see, because the beginning keeps moving. See the beginning portion begins moving further and further from the very start. If you click anchored, the beginning will stay put, and these parts will just keep getting longer and longer and longer and longer. And we have about 15 minutes left. I'm just going to go into show you portfolio backtesting and portfolio optimization, and then we can take questions to pinpoint some of what I may have missed. So portfolio backtesting, it comes as a separate app when you install Multicharts. It's going to be on your desktop. I'm just trying to find it. Where the heck is it? Well, here we go. Multicharts portfolio backtester. Just open it up. So yeah, if you are looking for backtesting, if you're looking for optimization, handling large portions of data, and actually auto trading, all that stuff, Multicharts is the product that stands out. And I'm not just boasting because I work for the company. Each product has its pluses, it has its downsides. Different products are good for different things. Some may be more suited for manual trading. You know, this is something that we've focused on for a long time, so there's a lot of thought that went into it. Stability is another important, very important point that you want to look for in software that you're going to trust when you walk away from your computer, be it for optimization or automated. What last thing you want is to know that it placed an order and it crashed, or that it forgot to send the order, or something got hung up. And that's a point with some of the other platforms that are more manual oriented. Multichart stability is kind of a point that we try to accentuate. So now that you know about backtesting and optimization on one symbol, portfolio backtester simply makes it, multiplies it by many. So in instruments, we can insert more than one. So for CQG, I have a few. You know, I have these 5. I added these 5 for my strategy 1, and I'm going to use I may have opened the wrong portfolio backtester, which is kind of ironic since I was just talking about stability and how it never crashes. Always a point whenever you say something like that, something goes wrong. I just have 2 products installed. We're beta testing something called Multicharts.net that is going to be released to the public soon. It's essentially Multicharts, but instead of Easy Language, it's going to have the .NET infrastructure for the professional programmers. So instead of Easy Language, you have C# or Visual Basic .NET. And I have both installed, and I opened the portfolio backtester from the other one, and it was complaining about the .NET infrastructure. In any case, you add more symbols, you add more signals, you click either backtest or optimize, you get the exact same menus, and you get the exact same performance report, except it's working with many instead of one. And do remember, in terms of memory issues, you do need a 64-bit version to work well, because more symbols means more data is used. So if you got, 1,000 symbols in here, you need 1,000 times more memory. And I believe that's just a really quick crash course into what's available, like really just scratching at the top here. Let's take a few questions if you guys have any, and I can direct you to more resources afterwards.
Thanks, Stan. That was excellent. One or a couple of quick questions that are coming through. The first one was just the interpretation of the optimization report. So if you could kind of walk us through how to interpret that, that would be fantastic.
See, by the way, it's how I'm changing the number of combinations, number of simulations changes at the bottom here. And what am I optimizing for? I'm optimizing for net profit. I click OK, and it's doing my optimization. This clock is actually pretty accurate. How on so many programs is like. Just opened up on the right hand side here. We have an optimization report. This one is I optimized for top net profit. It tells me that there is a combination that results in $2,062 in net profit. That is a combination of I need to have in my inputs where I clicked format, I need to have length for LE of 15. I don't know what that even is, but this needs to be 3 length, and that the one needs to be 3 as well. The optimization report found that would be the most optimal one. Everything else, it just gives you more ideas. It's like a short performance report as to what strategy with that input actually resulted in. You can filter and cross, and you can export it to Excel and do additional analysis on it if you like. You can apply it to the strategy by double-clicking on it. So yes, I do want these new good ones, and I double-click apply, and now my strategy is good to go. And last way of interpreting, which I don't honestly really know how to use, but somebody may, is with 3D optimization. It can help visualize how different amounts work on a particular scale, and you can tell if it's, I guess you can tell if it's a peak. If the peak is false, if you got like an outlier sitting here, then you may not want to trust it. But this looks like a nice plane. We got the axis like the LE length, and we got the net profit, and so we got the net profit peaking at here. Anyway, so that may be useful to you. Okay, does that's kind of the best I can answer that question in terms of interpreting it. About like what this number means or that number means. Our technical support can probably help you out when you contact them through our main page.
No, that was great, Stan. I've got a question about the strategies. I know in TradeStation you're probably fairly familiar with TradeStation yourself. In the strategy, when you set up a strategy in TradeStation, you've actually got in the strategy inputs area, you've actually got the ability to turn the longs and shorts off, and you can specifically test a strategy based on being either long, having a long bias, or a short bias. And I'm just wondering, in Multicharts, is that in version 8, is there a facility that allows you to, and I know you mentioned there Bollinger Band, you've got a long entry, short entry, or long entry, short exit. Is there an ability within a strategy, or do you have to kind of code that up when you actually put the strategy in for it to take the long and the short entries?
By long bias and short, I'm not familiar with this particular feature, just to let you know. So I don't know what it does behind the scenes. In Multicharts, I know that it will do whatever is coded. There are no options to mess around with the code, such as do this instead of that. There's no any sort of script creation tool or script affection tool aside from you actually opening it and meddling around. What I mean by that is this strategy, long entry, will do only what's written in here. If I want a plus 2 point stop, I have to actually open the script and type in 2. If I don't want to open the script every time, I can take this out into an input and change that dynamically, for example. Right? But I think to answer your question, there is no such little tool that tries to do that.
Okay.
So, are you there?
Yeah, no, that definitely that answers the question. So basically, as I was saying, it looks as though when you set the strategy up, because we've got we've got obviously our own strategies that we've got in easy language, and as we import them into Multicharts, we're obviously going to need to have the facility to be able to take either long or short setups based on the strategy. So that would be something we would code in. That's okay. That's all good.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Excellent, fantastic. And I'll just check if there's any additional questions from the group. See if we've got any other questions for the guys there. No, you seem to have. They were the main. I guess the optimization was one of the key things that we wanted to cover off today, and you've covered that, so that's fantastic. Just one quick one I've got, Stan. When you load up say for example, I'm loading up a trend strategy or some strategy into Multicharts. I've seen in the past that when you click on the properties tab, you definitely need to load up the number of bars back in the auto. I think it's the properties. That's it. So can you talk about maximum number of bars study will reference? Because that feature there sometimes comes up with a little error message, and I've been putting in 150. Is there a specific number of bars back we need to reference for the strategy to work properly?
In the wiki and in Multichart say a new feature is described. You can change this value dynamically from your script. All it means, I don't believe this particular wording is perfect in the menu. What it actually means is how many bars will the strategy wait before it'll have enough data to actually begin working. So this 50 means the first 50 bars of the chart are inactive. So you're not trading for the first 50 bars because, for example, if you're basing your trading decisions off a moving average, you'll need at least, X number of bars to get that first moving average so you can start working. 50 in this case is the number of bars that'll wait. If your strategy needs 150 bars, it creates a conflict. So you're completely safe to setting this to something high. And so that is not a concern and doesn't really affect much of anything. It's just an annoying little thing.
No, that's good. That helps because a lot of our traders are using the Renko bricks. So you want to have at least with our strategy, we've got dynamic support resistance. We want to have obviously the Renko bricks forming well, and that dynamic support resistance being kind of taken into account, and obviously a bigger lead up as far as bricks will help. So that maximum number of bars study will reference would be handy at 150 or 200.
You go into the Renko and then you go and you choose candlestick. I think that's what Renko candlestick. And Renko bars are built out of ticks most of the time. And yeah, so I believe that's you can change the resolution on it as well. So this is the BetterRenko chart type, which is different from the traditional boxes, I think. I don't see any wicks, but oh, there we go. Say like phantom board, and all sorts of little options here. See? Yeah, BetterRenko. So yeah, you may want to read up on additional info on that.
That's fantastic. That was my next question. So good work, Stan. No, that's great. Thank you for that, Stan. I don't think there's any other questions. So on behalf of GMT Futures, we'd like to thank you for presenting to us today, and we'll be sending out an email to our members, and we'll be doing there'll obviously be a recording of this video. So as part of that Stan has the Multicharts package available for people who would like to download and trial that, or potentially use that or purchase that. So we'll be sending out some information on that as well. So did you want to finish up with anything, Stan, or you?
Well, I just want to say there's a link on GMT Futures. They'll send out the info. I want to use this opportunity to just take 1 minute and advertise this new thing that we built as a free online charting service. I hope nobody minds that I just show it for a second. Given that we were lit Multicharts for an hour, these charts are web charts, and you can see that you can't do any serious backtesting. You can't do, there are no scripts on the online yet, but if you go to tradingview.com, it's a very convenient place to get a peek at a chart when you're not at your desk. And we got futures and stocks, and we got all sorts of things, pretty much anything that you need. So if you need a quick chart, or you need to share a chart with somebody, say, hey, you know, this is a trading idea or something, tradingview.com, and you can pull up a chart of pretty much anything you need quickly and easily. All right, so use the site, tell your friends about it. It's completely free. Online quotes on the web. So with that, I am done officially. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah, thanks again, Stan. Thank you, everybody, and that concludes the webinar. So again, thanks for your time, and look forward to obviously chatting to Stan in the future. And if you've, no doubt, we'll see the members in the room on Thursday for our regular live training. So thanks again, Stan, and thank you for attending. Cheers.
Cheers, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.